Friends, if you can remember to just yesterday, you will recall that I had just like the tiniest of mishaps and, you know, scratched up the stanchions on my fork pretty good. But that was just more or less the final nail in the coffin for a problem that I've been having with my Suntour Aeon 35 for a little while now. This Suntour fork has served me well, but it has been leaking air since I took this fork on the breezer to Sugarloaf. And even there, I noticed that it was down to 50 PSI. Same story yesterday. This thing has been leaking air down to 50 PSI and diving under braking. I admittedly don't know a lot about mountain bikes. I know even less about suspension. I asked you guys about the scratches on the stanchion. Thank you. In the comments, everyone was like, you can ride that. Just sand that down. It'll be no problem. And when it comes to the air, bring it to someone who might have the parts. They could service it. It won't cost too much money. And I appreciate all of that advice. Unfortunately, I'm an incredibly impulsive human being, and as luck would have it, this Rockshox Yari, 160 millimeters of travel, 27.5 wheel size, boost spacing fork, pops up on Facebook Marketplace just at the moment where I'm not sure what I need to do. I mean, I have it, so obviously I bought it. All in the name of, I want to keep riding, and I want to keep riding now. So I think this would be kind of interesting for the nerdy, numbers-loving subscribers and viewers of this video. The Suntour Aeon that's on the bike right now is 150 millimeters of travel. This is 160 mils of travel. So before I ever really did any research, I was like, okay, so the front end's coming up 10 mils, not really 10 mils, probably closer to like 3, but whatever. It'll mess with the geometry so insignificantly, I probably won't even notice. Bottom bracket would be a little higher, I guess. But here's the interesting and cool part, depending on your definition of each of those words. The axle to crown length of the Aeon at 150 mils of travel, set up like that, is 555 millimeters long. That's actually what this bike is designed around, is an axle to crown fork, 555 millimeters long. This fork is what this bike was designed around because I was going to keep this fork forever. Yari, 160 mils of travel, axle to crown length, 552. This, with 10 mils more travel, is actually overall length shorter than the Suntour. The geometry is negligibly going to change. 3 millimeter difference between axle to crown. That's a tolerance. That's a plus or minus between, I can't even. How actually lucky is that? Literally the day that I understandably think I ruined this fork, I make like a, you know, an acquisition that is overall an upgrade. Really. So while I don't concern myself with weight all that much, I can't continue to argue that it doesn't make a difference. It definitely does, especially when I take the Trifox out, getting over like really techie stuff. It is definitely easier to navigate through a trail if you have a slightly lighter bike. The Rockshox is 2,086 grams. And the Suntour is 2,420 grams. What is that math? Siri, what is...
It's 334.
That's almost a pound. Kind of almost a pound. 3/4 of a pound. Hey Siri, convert 300...
0.74 pounds.
That's 3/4 of a pound. So that's pretty cool, right? No effect on geometry, 10 millimeters more travel, and 3/4 of a pound lighter. Kind of a happy accident. So, well, this should be anyway, the very last of the loose strings that need to be dealt with this bike. Actually, that's not true. The rear wheel is not boost spacing. I'd like to have a boost spaced wheel in here. Because this is a non-boost wheel, and by the nature of the Merino derailleur hanger, the derailleur actually won't go up into the 50 tooth. Like, it locks itself out, even with the limit screw all the way out. That's annoying. I quickly sort of just like rode this around a little bit. Instantly, it feels so much better. Amazing what happens when a fork that you purchased was just serviced this spring by a local company here called Granite Suspension versus every piece of mountain bike equipment that I have never done anything to in my life. Neglect is all they know. And believe it or not, I actually did weigh it before and after. With the original build Suntour Aeon 35 on there, 36.3 pounds. Swapping out to the Rockshox, what's this thing called? Yari? 35.2 pounds. How did it end up being more of a weight savings than what the internet said it would be? Well, now you're up to speed with what's going on with the Merino. I'm probably not going to ride it tonight, possibly tomorrow, but for any of you who actually know my backyard, all the sheds are gone, and well, there's a deck to do next, so. Thanks for hanging out with me.